What's up, guys? Jay Stilla here. Today we're going to be talking about a new genre on this channel, or not a new genre, but a new genre for the channel. That's going to be MMOs. What better way to start talking about MMOs than having a list? These will be a list that is not in a particular order, but it is some of the more populated MMOs in 2020. Now, in 2020, there are not that many MMOs that are huge, I guess, on the term since the original release of World of Warcraft goes, which is what a lot of the MMO has been looking since WoW's original release. But these are 5 MMOs in 2020 that are still very populated, because I feel like population is a really big part in MMOs because of the fact that, kind of in the name, massively multiplayer. So I'm just going to talk about some of the MMOs. Probably heard most of them, but I will talk about some of the other MMOs through the official list of maybe some MMOs that are to come out that we be looking at, or some that are not as well known but still have very solid populations. So let's get into it. Now, the first one, obviously you can't have a top 5 MMO without having to talk about World of Warcraft. Whether that be the World of Warcraft Classic or retail version, both versions are surprisingly populated, and for good reason. World of Warcraft pretty much set the precedent for how a lot of MMOs have been made today, and there has yet to be one that kind of rivals World of Warcraft as far as its player retention and its population for how long it's been out. So just gonna have a quick nod to World of Warcraft on this list. Let's move on to number 2. Now, number 2 is a lot more Asian art inspired. You could say if World of Warcraft is more of a Western style art, then this one is more of an Eastern style art style, which, depending on your taste, will determine which MMO you would like to play. Both have very similar populations, but we're talking about Final Fantasy XIV. Now, Final Fantasy XIV originally didn't have the greatest launch, but they pulled off a great reopening of the game, and it just completely 180 the direction or the criticism of the community, and has been very strong as far as player population. Everybody loves it for the story. You won't be able to find a better story or plot in any other MMO, or as good of a story or plot in any other MMO out today. And Final Fantasy XIV, if that is more of your style, more of a theme park MMO like World of Warcraft, where it's all about gear and story or character progression and doing dungeons and all that good stuff from an MMO, then Final Fantasy XIV is definitely what you want to be looking at. There is one criticism for Final Fantasy XIV though, and that is its PvP system. Its PvP system is not the best, but most of the population that plays Final Fantasy XIV is aware of that and does not play it for that reason. So if you're looking for a more Eastern art style MMO that has a lot of content and a very good storyline to follow, then Final Fantasy XIV is going to be what you're looking for. Now, this one might be a controversial, this next MMO might be a more controversial pick for this list, because it does have very mixed reviews depending on who you ask about this MMO, and that's going to be Black Desert Online. Now, Black Desert Online does not have a storyline, but it is definitely a completely different MMO compared to the first 2, as far as it's very PvP driven, and it's a sandbox MMO, which means it's not got much storyline to it. The storyline is not the main draw of the game, but it is the PvP, the gear progression, and pretty much just being able to do whatever you want whenever you want without being locked into storylines or doing quests. If you don't want to do quests, you could life skill all day. You can grind mobs for money all day. There's a bunch of different things that you can do in Black Desert Online as far as how you want to progress your character and the ways to do so. There are many different ways, from life skilling to grinding to PvP, to make money in this game and to progress your character. Now, it is a little pay to win if what you're looking for is being at the top 1% of PvPers in the game, just for the mere fact that there is a little bit of EXP progression built into the marketplace when it comes to the monthly subscriptions. It's a free game to play. I probably should have mentioned that. The other first two are subscription based MMOs. Black Desert Online is buy to play. There's usually a small fee. It's been around $10 for the past year or so, but there is a optional subscription in the cash shop that will help you when it comes to inventory space, storage space, EXP, and you can customize the colors of your character without having to make or find different dyes constantly, which, depending on who you ask, is pay to win. And also there are different items that help you, makes it easier to enhance your gear in the cash shop. But since the enhancing and the progression of gear is RNG based, it's still kind of iffy on whether that's even pay to win or not, because people can spend thousands of dollars and still not be able to progress their gear, which is also a good and bad thing depending on who you are. If you're a free to play player and those pay to win whales are just helping keep the game alive without having that big of an advantage, or if you're someone who is trying to be competitive and wants that little bit of an edge, you might have to fork out some money trying to be at the top of MMO. So with that being said, let's just move on to the next one. So if you're a PvP player, Black Desert Online is definitely for you. Just be aware of some of the pay to win accusations of the cash shop, and keep that in mind if you're going to be diving into it. Now, next one is going to be Guild Wars 2. Now, Guild Wars 2 is a very good MMO. It's story driven, and it's had tons of expansions. It's still very strong, very steady, I would say, as a player base, and there is some PvP. It's somewhat action combat, not as good as Black Desert's, but you get a decent mix of the traditional theme park MMO with a little bit of PvP mixed in there. That is much better than Final Fantasy XIV's. Might be up there with World of Warcraft on par as far as the PvP is. I've just never really PvP'd much in World of Warcraft, so I wouldn't be able to compare as accurately, but I feel like the PvP between Guild Wars 2 and World of Warcraft might be much more similar as far as the type of fighting you can expect. Now, the last one on this list, I kind of have it between a tie. I would say Albion Online. Now, I choose Albion Online because it has a very, very strong player base as of this moment, and it is on Steam. That may be a huge factor as to why it has a strong player base. It is free to play, and it also has optional subscriptions, but it's not pay to win according to a majority of the player base. It's very minimal as far as the benefits. You do get more money per mob drop or whatever, but as far as the game overall is concerned, money isn't huge in Albion Online because you can craft your own gear and you can grind for it. So the money is just kind of unsubstantial. But the player base is huge. The PvP I hear is great. It's very reminiscent of RuneScape, which still has a very solid population as well, but I didn't think I'd include it because it's a little dated. So that's definitely a niche pick. I would say Albion Online, since it's much newer, updated graphics, and the content is still being released for it. So it's definitely a good game to pick up in 2020 if you were more into that isometric top-down MMO style like RuneScape was or is. Then Albion Online is definitely for you. I hear great things about it from people that do play it seriously, and even new players seem to have fun with it. I tried it for a bit. I did have fun playing it, but I just didn't really stick to it because there's a lot of other games that I play, and I didn't have much time to really dive into an MMO when Albion Online first came out. But I did give it a try, and it is really fun. The life scaling is rewarding. And yeah, Albion Online, try it out if you haven't already. You may find that you have been missing out this MMO. Now, a couple of honorable mentions just to wrap up this video. I would talk about RuneScape, obviously, because it's still a very populated game. It's free to play with a membership that's optional, but tons of people still love it. It's on mobile, and the mobile experience I've tried out is very true to the PC version, so you're not missing out much if you do prefer to play on a device. And MapleStory is also one that has a pretty solid niche player base that are very committed to it if you're into that sort of MMO. But I feel like a lot of MMO players are falling back on older games or other games that are more fleshed out, since a lot of the newer MMOs have been a little subpar when it comes to the other MMOs on the market right now. So there hasn't been many waves. There are a lot of releases. I would last like to mention New World. Amazon's New World will be coming out on Steam in August. Now, I think it's going to be a very big release. I think there's going to be a lot of people playing Amazon's New World, mainly from the title. They're probably definitely going to do a lot of Twitch advertisement since it's an Amazon title and it's being released from Amazon. So, and Twitch is owned by Amazon, so it's probably going to be a huge Twitch promotion going on for New World when it comes out. So you can expect a very healthy population at the beginning, but there has been some criticism from the trailers being released from New World as far as it looking incomplete or not finished. Some of it is looks a little wonky when it comes to the PvP, but that's still to be determined. People still have some hope for New World, mainly for it being a Amazon title. I myself feel like it's going to be a decent MMO just because it is made by such a big company where they have a lot of money to throw at it, but then again, it's their first game, so there's not much you can expect there. They have been really vocal with the community, so there's also a plus, and you might be able to find that this game ends up surprising everybody. But I myself am going to be waiting to see how this game turns out before I determine if I'm going to play it or not, because it's still very unsure, and the trust in the MMO community, let's be honest, is kind of at an all-time low. Almost a lot of my friends that have been playing MMOs have been low-key giving up on the genre altogether. Some even still like being excited about Fantasy Star Online 2 releasing in the West, even though it's like 8-year-old MMO. It's pretty sad when you look at the MMO genre right now, but we can only hope that there will be some new developers out there willing to take a risk and focus on the community more than the profits, and make a long-term investment in a game that people will be playing for a long time, like World of Warcraft has proved. So that about concludes my video. Let me know what you guys think about this list. Are there some MMOs I should talk about I have missed, some that are up and coming that you guys want to see? Let me know in the comments below. Consider a like and a subscription if this is some of the content that you would like to see, more MMO genre-esque content since I do like to play Valorant and FPSs a lot. I do enjoy MMOs, I just feel like it's very time consuming, but if it's something that people like and want to hear more about the different MMOs and keep up on that, then I will definitely for sure make more content like this. But that about does it for this video. So like always, gamers, keep on gaming, and I'll see you guys next video.